Hey, this is Samantha here from RecipeThis.com and the voice behind the popular Kitchen Gadgets podcast, Magic with Gadgets. Today I wanted to show you how easy it is to cook popcorn chicken in the air fryer. Well, before we dive into this recipe, I just wanted to suggest that you head over to RecipeThis.com. We've got more than 1,200 kitchen gadget recipes, including recipes for the air fryer, instant pot, slow cooker, soup maker, bread maker, microwave, Ninja Foodie, and many others. We also have a free weekly newsletter, which you can find on the homepage of RecipeThis.com, or you can find it on RecipeThis.com/newsletter. And there you can get our best kitchen gadget recipes sent to your inbox every Friday morning. Now let's jump into this popcorn chicken recipe. I'm actually slightly cheating here because chicken mince is out of season at the moment here in England. So I'm actually using turkey breast mince. I know, a little cheap, but you can very easily swap between chicken and turkey with any KFC chicken copycat recipe. They taste very, very similar and they both cook perfectly in the air fryer. Or another option, which we used to do when we lived in Portugal, is we couldn't get hold of any chicken or turkey mince any time of the year. So what we used to do is we used to use their chicken burgers that were very plain, and then we just mush them up so that they return to being chicken mince again, and we used to get them from Lidl. And those are what you'll find on RecipeThis.com if you search for KFC popcorn chicken. So cooking any kind of KFC chicken in the air fryer does involve needing a production line. This production line works at speeding you up in the kitchen so that you can quickly bread lots of chicken at the same time. And you can also make yourself a KFC fakeaway and do quite a few different KFC recipes at the same time, and then have a wonderful Friday or Saturday night supper with your family. So first of all, this production line involves 3 bowls: flour, beaten eggs, and breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs we made yesterday from some stale bread that we had using our Thermomix, and the flour is just being lightly seasoned, and the eggs are just plain eggs, nothing else. So what I recommend you add to it for doing any kind of KFC chicken, from doing zingers to fried chicken to doing popcorn chicken, is to add salt and pepper to the breadcrumbs. You want a bit of colour from the pepper in there because KFC chicken is known for its pepper. And then I also recommend that you add some of your favourite seasoning to the flour because it gives it some extra flavour. I'm using some basil. I would normally use some kind of poultry season, but I haven't got any left, and it's all about improvising. You don't want to have to go to the shop just for some seasoning. So that's your flour mixed. Like I said, your eggs I'm just leaving alone. And then this leaves my KFC spice blend. What I do is I make a really big jar of it, and then I can use it in multiple KFC chicken recipes. Also, we do have a video for the KFC spice blend, and the recipe is in full on RecipeThis.com. I recommend in general to add 2 tablespoons to the breadcrumbs. Couple of heaped ones there, but also note we've added a lot more flour there and breadcrumbs compared to the recipes we've got on Recipe This, because we're going to make multiple lots of chicken at the same time. So considering we've got extra breadcrumbs, I'm just going to add a 1/3 heaped tablespoon, and then you want to give the breadcrumbs a great mix. And then if you take a look at that, that's the kind of colouring you wanted to go for. So if you haven't weighed out your breadcrumbs, because sometimes you just can't be bothered, you just want to get on with it, just make sure you've got some colour to them like that, and then they'll be fine. And then this here is from 4 lots of our KFC spice blend, and we've just used 1 lot towards this. So that's the kind of amount that you need when you're doing KFC chicken. So now that you've got your 3 bowls ready, you're actually ready to cook any of our KFC chicken recipes in the air fryer. So everything's ready to go, and then it's kind of like you're making meatballs and breading them in the air fryer, because you make your meatball shapes and then you put them in the flour, the egg and the breadcrumbs. So if you want to start by getting your mince out, I've got 500 grams here of mince, and then you want to add salt and pepper, and some basil. And then once you've done that, it's a case of mixing up your mince with your hands until you've got a nice meatball mixture. You want to make sure it's well coated, because you don't want a bit with a huge amount of basil on. And then once you've done that, right, this mixture is a little bit wet with it being a special kind of turkey, so I'm just going to add a little bit of the breadcrumbs to the meatball mix, and then it'll help bind it better. You can also do this, it's a fantastic cheat, because quite often I can actually make gluten-free meatballs, but that's more when it's lean beef mince, and it doesn't work so well with turkey and chicken. And then a little bit more into the centre just to help bind it. You don't need much extra, just about that amount. And then just give it a good mix around. And then once you're satisfied with it, you can lose your green bowl and then just give it a good mix. It'll be like a really nice dough ball when it's done. And then you can see the lovely colours from the basil and the breadcrumbs as well, so it's just perfect. And then you can start making it into meatball shapes. I did once own a meatball press, but I spent so much time flouring it and getting it right so that they didn't stick, that in the end I just prefer to do them by hand. It makes them more fun and homemade then. And then you can do some medium shapes, and if you end up with a little bit left over, then you can always take some off a few of them so that you've got an equal amount. And then these just cook perfectly in the air fryer. A traditional method for doing popcorn chicken would be chicken breast that you put in a mincer first, but I really can't be bothered. It's so much quicker to do it like this. You want a hassle-free way if you want to make your own KFC at home. You don't want to spend hours and hours in the kitchen cooking. So then just mix them with your hand. We're getting there now. So we've got 6 done already. 7. So if you look, that one's a little bit small, so I'm just going to add a little bit to that one. And then you can kind of use it to add a bit extra to some of them, and then make it up, because it wasn't going to make enough for 9. So then mix it with your hands. So then I'll take that little bit there as well. And if it doesn't all bind well, you can just stick it back in together until you're happy with them. Take a bit more of that one for this one. And then we're nearly done. And now it's time to move on, and now Dominic's going to be joining me. He's a chef, and he's going to show you how to perfectly bread them for the air fryer so that the breading doesn't come off and they're absolutely perfect. Over to Dominic. And I love how good he is at breading food for the air fryer. I'm trying to think back of how many times he's done breaded food in the air fryer for us. There must be 40 recipes over on recipethis.com with his perfect breading. Not just KFC food, but things like chicken schnitzel, cordon bleu. I'm just trying to think of some more now, but it's hard to remember them all because we've just done so many. And they're just perfect for cooking in the air fryer. So once you've loaded them into the flour, into the egg, and then heading into the breadcrumbs. It's easy to do them in 2 batches of 4. That way you're not overloading the bowl and you can do a few of the same tasks at the same time, like flouring 4, then egging 4, and then crumbing 4. And then if you notice his trick for shaking the breadcrumbs, this helps to get the coating on them quicker. But of course, if you head over to recipethis.com, you can see George, when he was 4, actually helping his dad doing the breading for him. If you just search on recipethis.com for KFC popcorn chicken, you will find the pictures of him, as well as a printable recipe card with the full measurements over there for you in both metric and imperial. And then if you notice, my balls weren't that big, but by the time you got all the breading on them, they do look a lot bigger. And then do the same again when you last 4. And you can do as many or as few as you like at once. I find that 9 seems to be the amount that will fit in the air fryer, depending on what air fryer you've got, of course. You might have a bigger one than us. I mean, we've got the Philips Air Fryer XL and the Cosori as well, and both of those will generally fit about the same amount in. So then make sure that they're well coated in the egg. They'll be a little bit more flimsy compared to doing traditional chicken breast this way. So you have to be more gentle with them as you're putting them in the egg mixture. And then it's time for the final breadcrumbs. I also recommend having a plate to go, so that once you're done, you can keep them in the fridge if you don't want to cook them straight away. And then it's easy for transferring them to the air fryer, because you don't want your air fryer getting covered in your crumbs as you're prepping them. And then just give them a really good coating like Dominic's doing. And there you have it. There's your plate, ready to go, ready to be cooked. And then you can cook it straight away, or you can store it in the fridge and maybe have it for dinner tonight. So now let's cook the KFC popcorn chicken. Pull out your air fryer basket and fill it up. These are quite big and much bigger than the ones that we originally did. So I'm just trying to make sure there's enough room for them all in the air fryer basket. So there you go, that's all 8 of them in there. So now, put the air fryer back in. Turn on your air fryer, set the temperature to 180 Celsius, that's 360 Fahrenheit, and then the cook time to 8 minutes, and then press start. And we've beeped. Shall we check on our popcorn chicken? And wow, what I love most is how much they keep the shape, because you think the turkey's quite gooey, but thanks to adding that little bit extra of the breadcrumbs into the centre, it really helps them hold the shape. So now you just want to turn them over. They're not that bad to touch because of the breadcrumb coating, but you can use one of these if you prefer. The last one. So now I'll suggest about another 4 minutes on the other side, and then we can check to see if they're fully cooked. So now another 4 minutes, 180 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit, and press start. beeped. Should we check on our popcorn chicken? Wow, if you have a look at them there, they're looking fantastic. But they haven't quite hit their internal temperature yet. And that's because the ones that we did that are already on Recipe This were much smaller than these. So we're just going to give them an extra 4 minutes. And this should bring the internal temperature up. And again, 180 Celsius, 360 Fahrenheit. And we've beeped. And yes, we've beeped for the final time. Our popcorn chickens are done. But notice that you can do them much smaller than this if you want to. This is just a fun way of doing them from home. For example, if you had them at KFC, they'd probably be a third of this size. In which case, stick to our original cook times that we've actually got on recipethis.com. So then once you've done them, something like this is fantastic for grabbing them from the air fryer in. And then grab them all onto your plate. And then it's a case of choosing what sides you want to serve with them. Or if you just want some mayonnaise and to get dipping. So there you have it, that's what they look like. And they've cooled down enough as the popcorn. So we're now going to have a look inside and see what it looks like. And as you can see, it's perfectly cooked. So let's try some, shall we? And these are really, really nice. Note that we've used really lean mince here. So if you're counting calories, you can use a really lean mince, and you can use wholemeal breadcrumbs, and you can really keep this nice and healthy, and it's just lovely. Something quick to cook in the air fryer. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Recipe This family. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Pinterest. We also have a weekly newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter, where we share with you our latest kitchen gadget recipes, what we're cooking in the Milner kitchen, and so much more. As well as this, we recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then whenever we have a new video, you will be the first to know. And if you want to know about all our future videos, then I recommend you hit the bell for instant notifications. But even better, we now have a podcast. It's called Magic with Gadgets. Simply search Magic with Gadgets on your favourite podcast player and you'll find us there.